Hey everybody, it's Jim and welcome back to another lesson of Introduction to Korn Shell. Now a while back in lessons 15a through 15f, I believe, we went over how you can write a Korn Shell program that will take in optional flags, as in this example, -x and -y, and sometimes those optional flags will require values, as in this case, -x5. And the reason I bring this up is because you can write Korn Shell functions inside of a Korn Shell program that do take in flags, just like this. So that's what I wanted to go over today. Now, personally, I don't write functions that take in flags because I think it adds a layer of complexity that you don't need. However, if you do find yourself in a situation that you absolutely need to, or if you just want to, that's what we're going to go over today. So this is what it will look like when we have a function that is defined within our program that takes flags. So our function name is flags, and the first time we use a -x, second time we call it, we use a -y, and the third time we call it, we use a -q. So up at the top, we have our standard !bin/ksh. Our program name, what the program does. This program shows that you can use getops inside of a function. Now after that, we define our function. And once again, to do that, you use the Korn Shell command function, and then the name of the function, which in this case is flags. And flags will be equivalent to anything between the open curly brace and the closed curly brace. So what's inside of flags? Well, just a brief description at the beginning. It says this function shows how you can send flags to a function. And then, here's where the magic is. If you remember, or if you review lesson 15, you will see that to process flags, you use the Korn Shell command getops. And the way it works, it says, my valid flags are x and y. If the user enters a -x or a -y, I will put an x or a y in flag entered. If the user enters anything other than that, I will put a question mark in flag entered, because I have this leading colon here that says I can handle invalid flags. Now, you may remember if you put a colon after the variable name or after the flag name, that means that the flag requires a value. And in this case, I wanted to keep things very simple, so I didn't put any colons after the flag names, so neither of the flags require values. And once again, the leading colon says that if getops gets a flag that's not a -x or a -y, then put a question mark into our variable right here, which is flag entered. And our next line of code just simply prints the flag. Try to keep this very simple, just because I didn't want to go into a full-blown example, because if you want to learn all about getops, there's lesson 15 for that. So the way this should work is, let's go down to the bottom here. If the user enters the function name followed by a -x, we should get printed out flag is x. If the user enters flag space -y, then getops will see the -y. It'll say that's a valid flag, and it will put a y into flag entered, and then we will print flag is y. when the user enters a -q, getOps says, well, I'm only allowed to handle X and Y. GetOps says X and Y are the only two valid flags I care about. Everything else is invalid. So if I get an invalid flag, I have my leading colon that says put a question mark into flag entered, and then we just print it flag is, and it should be question mark. Now when we run our program, it will start at the top. It will see this, and it will define flags to be equivalent to this right here. However, it doesn't execute any of those commands when it defines the function. It will execute all of those commands right here, and right here, and right here. So let's run the program. So our program name is func3.ksh. Hit enter. And our first example was flags space -x. And as you can see, it did print out an X as we thought. Our next example is flags -y. And in this case, it did print out a flag is Y. And our last example was flags -q. And as you can see, it did handle it correctly. It assigned question mark to our variable, which was flags entered. Once again, I personally don't write functions that use flags, but the option is there for you.